Classical Protestant liberalism was built on a core assumption of optimism. It relied on the belief that human beings are inherently rational and entirely capable of engineering a well-ordered, progressive society. The early 20th century shattered that assumption. Global warfare and the rapid rise of an unforgiving industrial machine introduced systemic, catastrophic crises that individuals could not reason their way out of. We can observe the physical scale of this crisis by looking at the American industrial sector. Facilities like this Ford plant in Detroit required massive labor forces, demanding long hours and low wages to sustain continuous mechanized output. Operating in the shadow of that immense wealth creation were severe living conditions. Workers fueling the machine were subjected to persistent structural poverty and exploitation. A local pastor in Detroit witnessed this stark disparity for 11 years. He quickly realized that the prevailing liberal theology of the day offered absolutely no practical answers for the suffering in his parish. A theological framework relying entirely on the natural goodness and rationality of individuals collapses when forced to address mass exploitation and entrenched collective greed. That Detroit pastor was Reinhold Niebuhr. Together with his brother, H. Richard Niebuhr, he would construct a completely different theological architecture to address the industrial crisis. The brothers were raised in a pastoral home within the German Evangelical Church. This European pietist tradition gave them extensive fluency in historical German theology. After their undergraduate studies, they took divergent but complementary academic paths that would dominate American theology for 25 years. H. Richard became a professor at Yale University, while Reinhold accepted a post at Union Theological Seminary in New York City. From his position at Union, Reinhold translated his gritty pastoral experience in Detroit into a commanding national presence. He became a highly visible public theologian, recognized far beyond the confines of the church. The brothers engineered a movement known as Neo-Orthodoxy. They advocated for a return to strict biblical orthodoxy, but interpreted it strictly through the pragmatic, grounded lens of the original Protestant reformers. The defining mechanism of this new orthodoxy was political realism. They discarded liberal romanticism, arguing Christians must deal with the world exactly as it is, rather than how they wish it to be. They weaponized traditional orthodoxy to directly confront modern political structures, treating sin and evil as active variables in economic and political life. Reinhold laid out the first architectural pillar of this worldview in his 1932 text, Moral Man and Immoral Society. Reinhold's baseline premise is that individual human beings possess the capacity for moral selflessness. Interpersonal relationships can be governed by ethics, but dynamics change when individuals aggregate into massive societal groups. Through collective egoism, collective selfishness reliably overrides individual selflessness. Because of this restless collective egoism, the relationships between groups can no longer be managed by ethics. They are strictly governed by power dynamics. Later scholars, most notably Max Stackhouse, argued against reading this framework as a strict, unyielding binary. Stackhouse pointed out that individuals can be deeply selfish, and specific groups can operate selflessly. He proposed the concept required a more dynamic reading, Moral and Immoral Man in Moral and Immoral Society. Regardless of the exact ratio, Reinhold's core observation holds firm. Societies operate on power rather than love, which means Christians must engage in political realism to actively restrain collective evil. Reinhold expanded on the necessity of this engagement in his 1943 two-volume work, The Nature and Destiny of Man. He establishes that Christ is the final Lord of history, and ultimate solutions lie beyond our timeline. However, believers cannot use that final eschatological reality as an excuse to evade responsibility in the present. Niebuhr identified 3 tactics Christians use to avoid systemic evil. First, materialism, becoming consumed by wealth. Second, ill-defined optimism, a blind refusal to face modern exploitation. Third, Gnostic dualism, dismissing the physical world as corrupt. He rejects these, demanding active political responsibility. True Christian orthodoxy requires actively participating in corrupted earthly systems to mitigate suffering, rather than retreating into an illusion of spiritual purity. While Reinhold focused heavily on the political sphere, H. Richard Niebuhr turned his precision toward the academic core of American theology. In 1937, H. Richard published The Kingdom of God in America, delivering a definitive, devastating critique of liberal theology. He summarized the total failure of liberal assumptions in a single sentence: "A God without wrath brought men without sin." With those words, he identified how liberalism sanitized the biblical text, erasing both divine justice and the brutal reality of human corruption. He concluded the thought, "Into a kingdom without judgment, through the ministrations of Christ without a cross." This single sentence exposed liberalism's absolute inability to process reality. A religious system that removes consequence, judgment, and sacrifice has nothing to say to a world engaged in industrial exploitation and total war. Without a cross or a strict concept of judgment, theology has no mechanism to challenge, endure, or cure the collective egoism of the modern era. H. Richard Niebuhr expanded on this critique with his most famous work, Christ and Culture, a meticulous attempt to codify exactly how faith interacts with the human world. This visualization shows how Niebuhr strictly defined culture. Culture is the environment that human beings impose upon the natural world. Humanity shapes this environment using highly specific tools: architecture, science, mathematics, and critically, the structures of language. Christ, in this specific context, refers to the incarnated God. The incarnation provides the definitive framework for how Christians understand themselves within this cultural matrix. Therefore, human culture is not something inherently evil or entirely separate from God. It is the exact arena where the incarnated Christ operates, demanding our direct involvement. Reinhold's political realism and H. Richard's cultural taxonomy combine into a single, cohesive framework. Isolationism is completely rejected. The Church cannot stand apart from the friction of society. Human history is paradoxical, messy, and often brutal, but believers are explicitly commanded to navigate it anyway. The ultimate Neo-Orthodox imperative requires active, structural participation. It demands that you actively shape both the political systems and the cultural environments you inhabit. The Niebuhrian legacy forced modern theology out of the academic ivory tower, insisting that biblical truth must directly confront the necessary friction of human society.